My experience number 3. By the way, I've had quite a number of experiences. I don't know whether I'll be willing to share some because some don't look very relevant. Some may seem common, but I'm just sharing the experiences that I had that still linger in my mind to date, that left me in suspense. So, while still at my grandmother's place, the mother to my mom, I lost 2 of my cousins. That was my first experience attending a funeral. So I had very many questions, some of which I asked, and some maybe I never asked. I later on learned on my own. Sometime later, my uncle passed on. I really used to like this uncle of mine. I really loved him. He was very friendly, he was very calm, but he later passed on. So that was my third experience, my third funeral experience. Because of the stories about the dead, I think that's the moment I learned about stories of the dead and everything. And when you learn about stories of the dead for the first time, for the children who are growing, when you learn stories of the dead for the first time, and everyone I think has gone through the same experience, you develop some kind of fear within you, fear of the dead. So I developed that fear. So this uncle of mine died. We used to stay in his house. Like he built a big house and attached my grandmother's house to his. So we used to stay in a house that was attached to the uncle's house. Sometime later, after the funeral, I noticed some funny things within the home. Like one day while I sleep, I felt like something was moving at my back. I wondered, what is this? What is happening? I called my grandmother to tell her that, hey, grandma, there is something moving on my back. Oh, I don't know what it is. Please put on light. But my grandmother was very old, and she was very slow, so she did not cooperate maybe on time. So I don't know what moved maybe on my back. And I just assumed. Later, after some few years or months, because by then I wasn't able to determine number of years or months, I was still young. My dad sent some of my relatives to collect me from my grandmother's place. So I came to my dad's place and stayed with some relatives. And later on, my dad came and collected me. I started staying with him and his family. and my education process continued that way. So one day, while at my dad's place, because the house that we used to stay in was a 2-bedroom house. So my dad had his own master bedroom, and the other bedroom was for the maid and the house girl. The house girl and I think the child, our small child. So I used to sleep in the sitting room. One day, while asleep in the sitting room, I noticed some discomfort. Like you are asleep, but you feel some noise around you and you don't understand what is happening. Like the table, someone is moving the table. I could see, we did not have a TV by then, we just had a radio. But I could see some kind of a TV, like if, by opening my eyes, I would see a TV in the dark, some 2 people swimming. I couldn't understand what was happening. Since I could not understand what was happening, I guess I did not tell anyone, because I just felt like that is something just happened, and I don't know what happened. So I guess it happened twice, but it wasn't clear, so I couldn't understand anyway. Later on, we moved from this house to a different house. This different house was closer to the school I used to go to. So it also had 2 bedrooms, the master bedroom and the other bedroom. But in this other bedroom, our bedroom, it became now our bedroom. We used to sleep with the house girl. Like we had 2 beds, so the house girl would sleep on one bed with one of our kid, our young child, my young brother, and I would sleep on the other bed. But since I had developed this fear of the dead, I kept covering myself. Whenever I went to bed, I could cover myself fully in a blanket. I never left any part of my body outside. I felt very safe inside the blanket because I had fear for the dead, and I felt like the dead would move around when people are asleep in the dark. So it became common for me to always cover myself. So while sleeping in this room, this bedroom, the house girl on one bed with our child and me on the other bed, I could notice, because this wasn't a dream, it was real. It used to happen with my eyes while I am able to see. I could see what is happening. So whenever I went to the bed, I could notice a hand hand, someone bringing his hand in front of me and putting it in my face, at my face, just putting it on the bed, but in my face. I think the intention of this person was that I see this hand, because the hand, like this person was dressed in white cloth, so the upper part of the hand is white, and then the black part. So this hand would come on my bed. So because I had that fear, I could turn to the other side. When I turned to the other side, I would see this TV, the television. I would just see maybe some kind of a television or something, a program, and then it just vanishes. So I noticed that whenever this hand is brought on my face, and then I cover myself, or I turn to the other side, I see this TV. When I cover myself with the blanket, I could still see the TV. But when I close my eyes, I wouldn't see the TV. So I would just cover myself and close my eyes. I never told anyone. I just couldn't understand what was happening to me, and who is this, and who is this bringing a hand before me. So like there is a day in the same house, we used to have water challenge. So sometimes I would remain in the kitchen to fetch water. When water came, I would remain in the kitchen to fetch, to fill up the containers with water before going to bed. So one day, I filled all the containers with water and went to sleep very late. I was the last to go and sleep. When I just entered the bed and just laid down, I noticed this hand. So I had not slept. I had not slept already. I saw the hand and just turned to the other side and saw the TV as usual, and then I slept. So because of the fear, because whenever this thing happened to me, it used to create a lot of fear within me. I used to develop fear, more and more fear. So whenever I woke up in the morning, because I would cover myself fully with the blanket, I could even sweat inside the blanket, but I wouldn't open to get the fresh air. I would just cover myself to be safe inside the blanket. I would even sweat, but I never cared about the sweat, though it was very uncomfortable. In the morning, when I wake up, the first thing will be to uncover myself, because the door was towards our leg. While sleeping, the legs used to face the door. So whenever I woke up, I will just uncover myself, look at the door, confirm that there is nothing, because our house help used to wake up earlier to go and maybe do some chores in the kitchen or maybe clean the house. So the house help could leave maybe me with my brother in the room. So whenever I woke up, I would uncover myself, look at the door, confirm that there is nothing, jump out of the bed and out, because I felt like this room has someone. So I did not want to get in touch with this person. I never wanted to meet this person. I just knew that there is a spirit here, so I never wanted. So Because of the fear, I would just uncover myself, look at the door, confirm that it is safe, and then get out very fast. That was my lifestyle in that house. One day, I woke up and, as usual, uncovered myself and looked at the door. In the morning, the house help had already gone to the kitchen. When I looked at the door, I saw someone dressed in white, with a very small head, black head, very small black head. I just screamed because it's like this spirit had noticed that that is where my fear was. So he went and waited for me there. So when I woke up, uncovered myself, looked at the door and saw this person, I just screamed very loudly. It made my young brother to wake up on the other bed. The house help in the kitchen came to see what was happening in the room. When the house help opened the door, because the person I saw, I just saw him, screamed, and this person started becoming short. So I could not even look back to see this person. I just covered myself and kept on screaming. So my brother woke up because of the noise and went to the door. So when the house help came, the house help found my small brother at the door. So no one could understand me. I told them that I saw someone. When I woke up, I saw a very tall person at the door, and this person became short very fast. But the house help told me that that's not true. Those are just your own superstitions or something. So no one could understand me. I tried even to explain to my mom, but no one could understand. No, it was difficult for anyone to understand. Anyway, I just forgot about it and kept on sleeping as usual, and covering myself to be safe in the blanket. So sometime later, I went to because personally I've stayed with very many people. So I stayed with my mother for some time, and with my dad, and later on I moved and went to stay with my grandmother again. My grandmother used to work for Kenya Power. My grandmother, now the mother to my dad, he used to work at Kenya Power. So she had just retired and come home. So she had bought a piece of land in Kakamega. She was constructing and had rented a house at Scheme, Kakamega Scheme. So I went to stay with her at Scheme. Let me now describe my grandmother's house. This house was a 3-bedroom house. So she had her own house, her own room. The house help had her own room, and I was given my room in the same house. So this house was constructed this way. On one side, there was a kitchen, and from the kitchen, you go to the sitting room. So you would pass the kitchen, go to a corridor. This corridor led straight to my grandmother's house, and it had an opening to the house help's room. it had another opening to the sitting room, but there was a window opening from the kitchen to the sitting room, and my room was on the other side of the sitting room. So I would get out of go into my room. So when I want to get to my room, I would enter through the kitchen, go to the corridor, leave the corridor, enter the sitting room to my right, and then cross the sitting room to the other end, where now my bedroom was. So that's where I used to sleep. This house had no electricity. So we had two lanterns, the chimney lights. They were only two. So whenever I was the unfortunate one, because I did not have my own. The house help would remain in the kitchen, maybe cleaning utensils, and then go with the light to her room. The other one, my grandmother would go with it to her own room. So in my room, there was a certain sack, a white sack that had clothes, was full of clothes. So this white sack, sometimes I would notice it. I would notice it was behind the door, because the door was when you enter the room, it was made in such a way that when you enter the room, there is that other side. So you enter the room and then you get into that space. So this door would open. It was on the right. So I noticed this sack. Sometimes I find it behind the door. Sometimes at the corner direct in front of the door. My bed was on the other side. So whenever I come to this room during the day, I notice that this sack has been moved. I noticed it kept being moved. So I felt like, no, maybe the house help moved it. But it became a concern. I did not ask the house help, but I just became concerned. Why? Okay. When I left this room at around 2 p.m., this sack was behind this door. Now it has moved to this corner. How? Because anyway, could it have been in the morning? I might have said maybe it was moved by the house help while she was cleaning in the room. But how did it move? Okay, in case the house help came to move it, what was she looking for? So I just became concerned about it, why it kept moving, changing its positions at different times in the day. So there is a day I was asleep, just resting in the room. You know, some of these houses are not well painted, so I think it wasn't well painted, such that when you look into the wall, you can imagine an image within the paint. So while resting, I imagined an image within the paint, and this image became so real that I became afraid to sleep in the room and got out, just got out to come and sleep later. So when I came later to sleep at night without the light, because when the maid had the other light in the kitchen, that light could could pass into my room, so I could get a very little light, but this light could not access my bed because my bed was on the other side, so it could just pass through the window, the serving window, through the sitting room, and in my room. I could just see some very little light while she was washing the dishes in the kitchen. So I came that evening, went to my bed, slept, covered myself fully as usual. But this time round, I just covered myself. So in the middle of the night, I noticed I have been uncovered. So why am I uncovered? So with that fear, now I am out of my safest place, which is the blanket. I tried to pull my blanket, to pull it. While pulling the blanket was very, very tough. It was very difficult for me to pull. So it was like I was struggling, like the blanket had stuck somewhere. So I was pulling it to come out of the place it was stuck. When I noticed that this blanket is not coming, I couldn't wake up to go and see what was, where it was stuck. I just decided to sleep. So I just left it. I just released it. By releasing it, I had something fall on the ground. It was like a block. Boom! I just calmly asked myself, what is so heavy that could have fell on the ground that way, like a block? And then I just told myself, I won't pull that blanket anymore because it's dark. I'll just wake up tomorrow morning to see what might have fell as heavy as that. Because I didn't expect anything so heavy to fall that way. So I woke up the next morning, very early in the morning, with very little light, at least I can see in the room. Then I started pulling my blanket. By pulling the blanket, it was just coming freely. The blanket was just coming freely. Just wondered, why, how come? At night it was very difficult to pull this blanket. Now it's very easy. I'm pulling it very easily. So I just tried to look under the bed to see what might have fell heavily that night, the previous night. Looking under the bed, I did not see anything that might have fell very heavily on the ground. I looked under the bed. I just saw a small pipe, and it was just a small pipe that if you drop it on the ground, it will just bring the sound of just a very small pipe, a 2mm metallic pipe. But what had fell on the ground the previous night was like a block. So I just assumed that it was that spirit that was trying to struggle with me over the blanket. So when I left the blanket, when I released it, this spirit hit the wall. That is what I assumed. I never told anyone. I just assumed it and left it that way. But I just wondered, it left me in suspense. Some days passed. So one day, another different day, I washed my clothes. By then I was in class 5. So I washed all my clothes and aired them outside. When they had dried up, I went and brought them into the house and threw them on my bed. So that night, when I came to my room to sleep, with that fear, because I still had the fear of evil spirits, the dead, and everything, I went to my bed. I just entered the room, went to my bed, picked up the clothes that I had put on that bed and dropped them on the ground to be arranged tomorrow morning. So I dropped them on the floor and went back to the door, towards the door, at the door, so that I would remove my clothes. I had a sweater on, so I wanted to remove this sweater so that I can go to bed to sleep. So while removing the sweater, because the light would move from the kitchen through the sitting room, through the door to my room. So while at the door, I could see, at least I could not see towards the side of my bed, but I could see direct to the wall from the kitchen. I could see the wall, the corner. So I was at the corner, not at the corner. I was like a few meters from the corner towards the door. So I noticed something white in this corner. We were just very close. I noticed, what? I noticed something white. And yet, during the day, I had noticed the white sack, had been moved behind the door. Now, this sack is now at this corner. So I just wondered, why is this really a sack? Because when I came here during the day, even when I brought my clothes, I saw this sack behind the door. So I became concerned and just asked myself, how did this sack move from that behind the door to this corner? Because during the day I saw it, and I am sure the house help has not been in this room. I am very sure the house help had not been in the room. So I looked at this sack now in the corner. It had something black on top of it. It was a white sack. And I just told myself that this could either be the sack, or in case it's not a sack, then this is someone, this is a human being. And in case I was just trying to ask myself some questions and answer them. If this is a sack, then this black thing on top of it is a black cloth. But in case it's not the sack, and it's a human being, then this black thing on top is its head. So I now decided to confirm whether it is the sack or a human being. So, because we were very close, we were even less than 1 meter away. So I decided to touch it to see if it is really a human being or a sack. So I brought my hand very slowly. When I was almost touching it, I noticed it was a human being dressed in white. And this human being just became slightly large and jumped towards my bed. So my bed was in the dark, so I could not see where it was. So the person just became large a little and jumped towards my bed. On seeing that, I also jumped outside the room. I did not scream, I just jumped outside. Went to the kitchen, told our house help to assist me with his lantern, the light, for a short while. I came with this light, looked all over my room, looked in the sitting room, I just looked in my room and the sitting room. I did not see anyone. I did not see anyone, and the sack was still behind the door. So I just took the light back to the kitchen, went to my room and slept. But since I was now overwhelmed by the fear, in the middle of the night, I just cried because I could not sleep. I kept thinking where this person might have gone. So I just screamed. On screaming, my grandmother came with the house help, and this is the time I narrated to them the story. I told them, this is what has happened. This is what happened when I came to this room. So to answer the question, why did I scream, I just told them that, though that one now was not the truth, it was just to approve my scream. Told them, I screamed because I've woken up and I found this person standing here, but that was, I could not even look to see if this person is still in the room. But I narrated the story. My grandmother is a Catholic, so they prayed the Hail Marys, the Apostle Creed, everything. And then they told me to sleep. But anyway, I just slept, but I was still afraid. I woke up very early in the morning and left that home. So sometimes I could sleep because the kitchen had a sofa set. So sometimes I could just sleep on the sofa set in the kitchen. So I could make my grandmother uncomfortable because she wants to sit and I've slept on the same sofa set because I'm afraid of sleeping in my room. So she was uncomfortable. She kept insisting that go and sleep in your room. Nothing will happen to you. This fear, I was just overwhelmed by the fear, and I made everyone else in the house very uncomfortable. One day, I think the third day, our house help used to go to a certain church. So this house help told me that she was willing to take me to her pastor so that the pastor can tell what is happening to me. So I went. I was taken to the pastor. The pastor prayed for me. It's this local churches. So this pastor prayed, hit some drums and everything, and told me that there is a spirit that was living within me. This spirit is the spirit of my uncle. So the pastor told me that at my rural place, my grandmother's, where my mom was born, the pastor asked me, are there some trees leaning in the compound? By then I was I think class 7, I was in class 5, and I had left the place some years back. I had left the place like 5 years back. So I would not know whether the trees I left or whether they have planted trees and the trees are leaning in the compound. So I told him that I don't know whether there are some trees leaning in the compound. I know there are some trees, but I'm not sure whether they are leaning in the compound. So this pastor told me that when he prayed for me, the spirit left me and went to that place, and it is resting in those trees leaning within the compound. So the pastor told me to bring some items like a candle, a red candle, a green one. The pastor told me to bring quite a number of things, and with a brown, green sheet and very many things. And I went home and gave the same information to my grandmother. My grandmother told me that, my grandmother is a .com grandmother. So she told me that, me, I'm a .com grandmother. I've been in town all my life, so I can't be part and parcel of that. So we never went back to that pastor to take those items. But going back to the house, since the fear was, I was still overwhelmed by the fear, and I could not sleep in that room anymore. My grandmother decided that since she was constructing a house in town, we agreed that I go stay there with the workers. There was a compound boy, and the workers sometimes would come and sleep in the construction structure. So I opted to go and stay with them because I would feel safe sleeping with other people in the same room other than sleeping alone. So I went there and started staying with those workers. Later on, one of my aunts came, felt like the kind of life I was leading wasn't good, so she took me to my grandfather, who was staying in Nairobi. So I went to stay with my grandfather, and I was taken to another primary school in Nairobi. So I stayed with my grandfather and completed class 8 while in Nairobi. And then after class 8, because I had not met my mom, my biological mother, for quite some time, so I opted to go and see her after class 8. I think it was 8 years now. So I said, let me go and see my mom. And I went to see my mom, and I narrated to them the whole story, what had been happening to me. And I was told the same has been happening in the home, whereby you may just be seated in the house and notice some movements that are unnatural. So that is part of my story. Some of the stories that have left me in suspense. Uh, so my question is, people always assume that whenever an evil spirit uh, follows you, it means that you might have done something, maybe regarding their death or something. But for me, I was very young, I was very innocent. There is nothing I would have done for my uncle to die. And when he passed on while he used to stay in Eldoret. He passed on while in Eldoret. But his spirit has been messy within the home at my grandmother's place. Like there is a day while there after the class 8, there is the sister to my mom, she used to stay at the market. So we could go and stay there until very late in the night and then come from the place. So there is a day I came very late, I came alone. Anyway, all along I had been coming with my brother, one of my brothers. So this day I came alone, and just at the gate I saw someone. So I just wondered, is this a person? Is it a tree? Whenever I saw such kind of things, I could ask myself questions, and I would plan to confirm the next day. Tomorrow I'll come and see whether what I am seeing right now is what so I would come to confirm. So that day I came and saw someone dressed in white standing at the gate. By the way, during the time I saw this person in my room while in class 5, by then I did not know how to pray. I didn't know how to say in Jesus' name, or to rebuke any spirit. So later on, I think I told my dad the same story, and he told me that whenever you see such a thing, or whenever you have such a feeling, just say in the name of Jesus Christ. So this time when I was coming from my aunt, because since I saw that spirit in my room and I was taken to that pastor, I never saw the spirit again. But while coming, because whenever we went there, we used to stay at the compound of this uncle of mine. So while coming, I saw this person at the entrance. I started rebuking it, saying, in the name of Jesus Christ, in the name of Jesus Christ, because I was alone. And I did not go straight to where it was. I passed through a certain bush, entered into the compound, and continued saying that in the name of Jesus Christ. While in the compound, I heard someone, this person talked in Swahili and said, wewe wacha kupiga kelele, stop making noise. So I just wondered, that's also another suspense. Is it that spirit that told me that I shouldn't stop making noise, or someone else heard me talking and said I should stop making noise, or someone was telling someone else that they should stop making noise? So those are some of the suspense questions that have always been lingering within my mind. So personally, I've experienced an evil spirit. I've seen an evil spirit with my eyes, not in a dream. Yes, I've had dreams, but that one wasn't a dream. It was real. And whenever someone tells you that they have seen an evil spirit or a spirit, it's true. It's true. Whether you've seen it or you've never seen it, don't assume that it is I don't know how to say it, but it is real, it happens. So my question, have you ever experienced the same? Are you experiencing the same? And in case you are experiencing or you've experienced the same, what are you doing? Or what did you do? Thanks a lot for your time. Zoea hiyo sura. I have quite a number of stories. I have quite a number of advice. In case you feel that I need to talk about something, just tell me. But tell me, in case you've had the same kind of an experience, what did you do? Thanks a lot for your time, and God bless you.